Hi, I'm Paul Friedman. I'm the founder of the Marriage Foundation. This topic is interesting. It's unhappy marriage signs. It's as if we're driving on a road, because marriage is a path, isn't it? And then there's signs that let us know what's going on. And we're asking the question, does this mean I'm in an unhappy marriage? Let me turn that around. Let me ask you, would you say your marriage is a 1, which is as good as it gets? Or has it drifted down to a 5 or a 10 or even lower? If someone asks you and you really want to be truthful, would you say that you're happy all the time? That you love your spouse with all your heart, mind, and soul? Probably yes. But is it working? Are you happy to see them? Are they happy to see you? That's one of the signs that it's unhappy, is that you're not excited about seeing each other one way or the other, or both of you. That when you spend time together, you're not really connecting. That's another sign. That when you have sex, it's just sex. You don't feel that love. You're just getting off, you might say. That's another sign that you have an unhappy marriage. That all of your focus of attention is on the kids or on your job, what you have to do tomorrow, what you have to do next week. Maybe you're buying a house and you're looking at all that stuff. It's another sign that your marriage is unhappy. Some people have been subscribing to this channel, and so they say, wow, you've really turned our marriage around. So that's one way to heal this. But let's define this better. What is an unhappy marriage? An unhappy marriage, in my eyes, when you contact the Marriage Foundation, we're very clear about what a marriage is meant to be and what it's capable of being. And we have thousands of people who are taking the courses, one for men and one for women, and they're experiencing what I'm about to tell you. That a marriage is intended to be. It was designed for the purpose of delivering joy, not just happy. Happy is when you get really good French fries. Happy is when you get a new car. Joy is when you're floating around with this sense of joy. And the other thing that defines a happy marriage, one that's working properly. I don't even want to say a happy marriage, one that is properly working how it's intended to be, is that it's filled with love. Of all the things that we do in life, we talk about, I love this, I love that, but we're not really talking about love. Love is that feeling that you had on a few occasions, but you should be experiencing all the time in your marriage. For instance, when you were exchanging vows, there was just that moment where your heart was bursting. Your mind couldn't handle it. It started changing the subject on you. And that's one of the signs of what needs to be done when you're not experiencing a happy marriage. It's telling you that experience of when you're feeling that joy, that blissful experience of love and joy, and the mind comes up and reminds you of this, reminds you of that, and takes you away, distracts you from that feeling. How dare the mind do that to you? It's your mind, and yet it does it to all of us. Why? And this is something that's special about the Marriage Foundation, how we approach ourselves, our minds, and our marriages. So I said how marriage is intended. My belief is very firm. I can't prove this, but I believe God is the one who invented marriage, and He gave it as a gift. And I'll tell you why I believe that. I believe that God is a loving God. And I've had this discussion with friends. I have one friend, I call him Joe the Baptist. He used to run one of the larger Southern Baptist churches in our community. I'm not a Southern Baptist. I was raised as a Jew, but we met at a Starbucks and we got to talking, and I said, Joe, I have a problem with one of the things about your religion that I know. He said, what's that? I said, and if you knew Joe, you'd know I sounded just like him just then. I said, Joe, I believe that God loves me. I believe that God is my mother, my father, however you want to call him, but I feel God loves me. He created me, he loves me, and he protects me, he guides me, and if I make a mistake, he is not going to throw me in fire for eternity. And Joe was a cool guy. He goes, I hear you. He couldn't come out and say, I agree with you, but he gets it. So my belief is this God who loves me, created me, takes care of me, talks to me, listens to me. He wants me to feel that love. That is him. He is all love. And he knows in this world it's tough to feel that love because everyone's out to take advantage of you in this world, let's be honest. So he invented marriage to give us this, I call it the sacred space, where you and your soulmate can block out the rest of the world. You're supposed to block out the rest of the world. That's why you get married. And you have committed to love somebody, the only one in the whole world who you can possibly love completely unconditionally, and you did it voluntarily. It's beautiful. You have this opportunity. The trouble is, we get into this sacred space and all of a sudden soulmates become cellmates. Get on each other, because we're not taught. We're not taught. But I think God gave us this space so we could learn how to love each other unconditionally. And instead of working on that, instead of cultivating our devotion, instead of cultivating our connection, what do? We complain about each other. So if you're complaining about each other, there's a sign of an unhappy marriage, isn't it? You judge each other. Here's another sign. You're critical of each other. There's another sign. You argue instead of discuss. There's another sign. Those are signs. What are you going to do about it? You have free will. God gave you free will. That you cannot argue with me about. God gave it to you. You don't even know the extent of it. At the Marriage Foundation, we study that. We go, wow, there's so much to this free will business. It's one of our deep principles. And we're training counselors, training people to be counselors, TMF counselors, and they learn about respecting free will, honoring free will, not honoring emotions and feelings and anger. You don't honor those. But free will, you honor. You honor those because it's a birthright. We don't have the right to interfere with another's free will, do we? And yet we don't use our own free will to our greatest advantage or the greatest advantage to our spouse, to our marriage, to our family. There's a learning process here. You should get into it. Take a look at our website. See all the things that we have. Subscribe to this channel so you get all this information. I mean, we can't do much in the videos in terms of training you up, but we have this available now. And remember, the goal of marriage, the purpose of marriage, and it's attainable, it's achievable in not much time, is joy where you're floating, love where you're floating, where you go, it just doesn't get any better. And it doesn't. So I hope you like this video. I hope you enjoy our little conversation and come back again. I'm Paul Friedman. I'm the founder of the Marriage Foundation. God bless you and take care.